All right, good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Today is, what's the day? Today's the 11th of November. Happy Veterans Day for all those that have served. All right, so this is just my feeling, and I hate using the word feeling, but obviously today is a bank holiday, so most banks are closed. The bond market is closed, but the stock exchange, and CME, they're all open. But just looking at when I was mapping out my levels this morning from yesterday to today's price action, don't really foresee a lot of big movements here today. And our setups might be a little bit difficult to get to. So currently on the ES, what we've got going on, we got a short that we mapped out yesterday at the 68.76.50, targeting the 68.72 and the 68.70 with a stop loss at the 68.81. Again, entry at the 68.76, targeting the 72 and the 70, and then a stop loss at the 81. To the downside, we've got a long. Don't worry about this white line. I guess I could just delete it for right now. That was just an extra layer of support that we had in the market yesterday. We've got an entry at the 67.91, targeting the 67.94 and the 97, with a stop loss at the 67.87. So that's the ES market. Now let's jump over to the NQ. Move this here a little bit. Like that. Okay. NQ. So I don't... Yeah, we do got one above us. Got one set up above us at the 25.850, targeting the 25.843, and also targeting TP2 25.838 with a stop loss at 25.858. So again, entry 25.850, TP1 25.843, TP2 25.838. And then currently, not much. There's not much that I can see right now. This has all been pretty nasty price action. If you kind of take a look at the wicks, you can see that most of the moves, they've balanced out the volume before the next move happened. So what I'm looking for is moves that originate without this retest or this rebalancing of volume. That's how I find my setups. And price action for the last like 24 hours has not been not been super clean. Yesterday we had some good setups. We took that ES trade that we mapped out yesterday. That was a fantastic. I ended up the day plus 1700. So I did take that ES trade, which was an absolute beauty for TP1 and TP2. So put in the chat if you guys got that one as well. That was a beauty of a setup. Let's see. Yeah, it was this one right here. This setup right here. That was a really, really nice one, guys. Really nice one. Very little drawdown, maybe about a point and a half. That was a nice one. Scott, good morning. Nordic, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Anadura, good morning. Buddy, good morning. Joe, good morning. And Michael, good morning. Randy, good morning. And I agree with your statement. Let's hopefully have another profitable day here. Good job, Scott. Good job, buddy. Good job, Random. Oh, good morning, Random, I should say. So yeah, yesterday we mapped out a few trades. Two of them that obviously went for TP1 and TP2. We got a yes on the top and the bottom, but I just don't have nothing here in the middle yet. So we did have some movement coming from this area right here. But the problem is that we didn't really break any structure, so I don't like it. I need to see more impulsive moves. Oh, I got my new chair, which, man, so what a world of difference. I was dying yesterday. I literally felt like I was gonna have a spasm in my back. That was a tough stream to sit through. I did get the P&L up on the screen. The only issue is it's not as clean as the one for my house. So when these lines kind of intersect, you might see a line through it, but at least it'll show the P&L a lot clearer than what it shows on the screen there. So today's my last day here in, well, I consider my little paradise, but I got a flight back to Chicago, hopefully, this evening. I think it's been enough time in Florida. Get back to reality a little bit. Good job, Nordic. I wish you the best of luck on those new Apex accounts. And while we brought up Apex, there's two trains of thought in my mind with prop accounts. I personally trade the instant funded accounts, and the reasoning behind that is, let's just say the average instant funded account is going to cost you $280 to $300 on a 50K account. Sometimes you get them a little cheaper, sometimes you get them a little bit more expensive, but depending on whatever discount they're running at the firm, that's going to be the general ballpark that you're going to pay. Now, on the evaluations, much cheaper. Let's just say $50 to $65 on average for an evaluation. And then you typically have an activation fee. I know Apex is running a fantastic $40 sale on their activation of their PAs. But let's just put it in normal terms. Your all-in cost on an evaluation is about 160, let's call it 160 to 180, depending on what firm and what discount you get in at what time. So there's roughly about a $120 difference on the instant funded accounts versus the evals. Now, obviously, on the evals, you typically have better consistency ratios. Not always, but in most cases. So on your instant funded, you're going to have a little bit lower consistency, like 20 to 25%. But here's my thinking is that on the eval, your objective, let's say on a 50K account, is to make $3,000. Well, on an instant funded account, you make that $3,000. Granted, the risk, the entry or the cost of entry is a little bit cheaper, so maybe about 30% cheaper. But you now have the ability to take out your actual first payout from an instant funded account, because most of them are going to want you to hit that $3,000 profit target, same as an eval. And I would rather have real money into my account at the instant side once I hit the 3,000, because now on the eval you really got to make $5 to $6 before you make really any money. So that's kind of my theory for it. That's why I've been just pretty much focusing in just on the on the instant funded. And again, I believe that your goal should be to have your payouts eventually to pretty much start and to fund your cash accounts. Because when you start trading your own money, you're already hopefully used to the rules on the consistency side and on the position sizing. Revenge trade can come at any time, I guess. But, it's going to be with a cash account, you're in control. There's a few different ways. When I first started, consistently consistently in the green, which was probably about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, pretty much when I started trading my mechanical strategy. That's when I started seeing green. And I had a very interesting way of paying myself. It was a little ridiculous at the time, but now looking back at it, I feel like it was a little ridiculous, but it did help. It did help me with the psychology of trading a little bit. What I would do is, let's just say that, the mechanical strategies had a profit of $350 for the day. At the end of the day, especially with Ninja Trader is great at this. There's other firms that won't let you do this every single day, even on a cash account. But I would just pull out $150 or $175. I'd always pull out half of what I made for that day. So I was just seeing deposits coming into my checking account, into my Chase account very regularly. And then the balance of that profit for the day would just stay in the account to help it build and then to offset my losing days, because obviously there's always going to be losing days there. But it helped me really turn my thinking behind this being a long-term build up my account to 10 or 20,000 to take out a payout to, man, this is nice. This is starting to pay. I go to lunch, I go to dinner. You've got expenses that come in every day, and it was starting to offset some of that. And I really felt like my time was kind of being paid very regularly. Now, you don't have to do it daily. You could do it weekly, or however it fits well with you. But that was the psychology I had with my accounts, and I felt like it helped me out a tremendous amount. I did add a new, and this was a good recommendation actually for my wife yesterday. She's pretty much on the stream almost every day, at least watching it or monitoring the comments. And so I did add a membership tier to YouTube. I believe it's $6.99 or $5.99. I think $6.99. And I think the main benefit from that is I'm going to be running a monthly live YouTube stream. It's going to probably be in the evening, and it's going to be an hour or two, depending on how many people are in the stream, simply just answering questions. Chart setup, my questions over my setup, the volume profile, footprint confirmations, just any general questions that sometimes are easier answered when I've got time that I'm not actually trading on the charts. So it's obviously one way to support the channel. I don't think it's going to be a huge revenue for me, so that's not really the main purpose. But typically when somebody pays something, there's a little bit more skin in the game. So, if I do it and nobody joins the stream, or I don't see really much activity on it, I'll drop it off. But I think that there's a lot of people that ask me this kind of the same questions every day. I get them in Discord, I get them through the stream, and if I've got a good hour or two. You see how helpful I am on stream to try to answer them, but at the same time, I'm trying to look for setups and trying to make money myself. So off stream, I think, or I should say off market hours, I think that might be valuable to some people. Or if you just like the awesome setups that we give every single day. Not much going on. It's kind of an uneventful open. Uneventful open here this morning. So the NQ, if we drop down to the 5-minute, I mean, the 15-minute showed it pretty well, but I mean, we're just kind of been stuck in this range since the early morning time. So we need to see some kind of breakout. I just don't necessarily. As far as targets for the market, the NQ really only has the 25,700 right now. That's got a lot of liquidity. I mean, markets are pretty bare right now. So this is going to be one area that they can open up their auction. I don't know if you guys remember those lines that I drew yesterday, those stepped up lines. I mean, it's kind of crazy how it played out. The play was called out really early in the morning, but it was that first level of liquidity that was sitting right at our right at the IB high. I had marked off, and then I put that square, which we tapped into, and then I said that all of the easiest place for them to close out the auction is at the IB low, which it then hit. But if you guys remember, I drew out 3 lines that were staggered with 3 circles, and I said this would be another area for them to then complete another auction. So what they did is they swept the IB low, they opened up or closed their auction, and then took it all the way straight right back to those 3 particular lines that I had on there on that chart. So that played out pretty nicely. All right, looks like the NQ is making a move. Let's see if it can break some structure here. Yes, remember, we really only have it something close to the upside. The short at the 68.76. The NQ, not much. But this could become, even though I'm not necessarily very happy about this wick right here, have to take a look at it. But, we break structure here, then we can start mapping out here to see if there's anything. That was a nice little move there. All right, Nordic, let me reverse the script a little bit. Why do you think it 25,518 is a long? Let's go with that first. What's your thinking there? Morning, Key. Morning, Billy Joe. Yeah, banks are closed today and the bond markets are closed today. So, and as I mentioned at the beginning part of the stream, just mapping out my levels this morning. Based on price action from yesterday through the morning, just didn't look like it was a very favorable environment for some big moves, but we'll see. The market sometimes has a way of proving us all wrong. I see an impulsive move at the 15-minute. All right. So that's the first step. What else do you see at that level? Is there anything else any other piece of confluence, I guess you want to say, besides the impulsive move? I want to see how much conviction you have at the 25,518. Sell it to me. I want you to sell me what you see at that number. And then I'll look at the number and I'll see what I see there. And don't be shy. There is no wrong or right answer. Well, sometimes there could be a right answer, of course, but we're all trying to get better.
Okay.
All right, now you've given me at least two pieces of confidence. Let's take a look. 25. What do we got here? 25, 518. Let me draw a line right there just for 518. You're close. You're close. Let me draw this here. F6. Now, you're in an area that's getting pretty close, okay? I had this area shaded off already previously. Not super thrilled with where it sits on the volume profile, so that's why I don't really have this set up as a setup here. But I can tell you this area right here is an unbalanced volume area. And you're about 18 points above that, but that's no big deal. Let me see what is going on there. Yeah, you're in a... I can tell you right now... Delete this guy. And I don't know if you saw this from yesterday or not, but I actually had this entire area right here shaded off. I just couldn't find a good setup. But I can tell you, Nordic, that you are very close to being on the right path here, because you at least found the level or the area in an unbalanced area, if that makes sense. Now, as far as setups are concerned, I personally would not take a long there, just because of the fact that I don't like the price action that happened right above it. So there is a lot of rebalancing of that volume, of that smaller pocket that's in there. And that would cause me to not make that a super high probability setup. It could still work out, don't get me wrong. On that move, you could even almost target the 528s, 527s, but it's not an A+ move for me, at least not an A+ setup. I think a better play would probably be at the 25, 546. Just can't even see right here, right there. So I'll delete this guy. And I'll leave yours there too. So what the hell just happened there? Press that twice. But yeah, I can also tell you that that was a great way to. I think you're on to the thinking of the setups. It's funny. I got it labeled as Nordic line. It feels like it's like a line from the Arctic. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. I was able to fix the camera. I had it mounted differently and adjusted some of the settings because another comment my wife gave me was it was way too bright, or I think the saturation setting in the camera was not not doing well. I think I got that fixed. Does the profile shift, and that is why it looks different after you mark it up? For sure, yeah, yeah. I get some questions sometimes, like a day later, or a couple days later, and say, "Hey, Rob, you like what was your thinking behind that setup?" And one, I mean, it's hard just to kind of go back and redraw my lines and see where the entry was, where the TPs and stop losses were, but also depending on how long price action was in that area. And typically, the areas that we're taking entries from are high high volume areas. The volume profile obviously changes, so it's a constant evolving profile. So what looks super clean one day, next day could look a little different, and it could look a little different on the lower time frames too, depending on how many days on the composite you're going back. Sound seems more. You know what? You're like the third or fourth person that has told me that. All right, cool. You know what? This is a cheap mic too. I mean, the mic that I got at the house, they say is one of the best. I mean, I paid a pretty good amount of money for it. They say it's one of the best like streaming mics, but I got to agree with you. I think that when I move around a little bit, just because it's kind of hard to stay stationary for 2 hours, but when I move around a little bit, I hear the volume, start to change. So I might take. I've got an upgraded version of the one that I have here at the house. That's the one that I used to do all my recordings on upstairs. So I might actually take that one and bring it back down because I was thinking the exact same thing. There's a few things now. I'm glad that I came down here to kind of test all this out because, like I said, in for Christmas break for the holidays, I am going to be down here for about 2 weeks. So I know that I was going to be doing a lot of streams down here. And I figured, let me test the environment, test all of the setup, which has been working, knock on wood, pretty flawless so far. Um, and then I've been noticing other things that have kind of helped me when I get back home. One, there's got to be something wrong with my PC at home because if you guys have noticed, I've been having a really hard time um, changing my time intervals. Like when I switch down to the 1 minute, the chart will freeze for like 35, 40 seconds. And that's a disaster waiting to happen. Now, it only happens when I'm on stream. When I'm not on stream, I can change intervals even on my home PC very quickly. It's when you start, when the streaming software starts sucking all of your resources out, that's when you start to see the lag. But here I'm only on a laptop, which is a phenomenal laptop. I think I did a really good choice buying this one. But this is handling everything. I've got five, well, no, I'm sorry. I've got four monitors plus my laptop, and I'm changing time frames from like the 5 to the 1 in like a few seconds, which to me says that there's something not right at the um, at the one that I built at home. So I'm gonna have to. I want to look at like the BIOS and the settings for the CPU and the memory to make sure that I've got those optimized. Since the system was running, I felt really scared to change any settings that I want to go down and then not have a secondary option. But now that this laptop works, even at home, I can just pop this in, connect the monitors, and do the stream off of this as a backup, which is great. So I've learned a few things being down here. So I got the MSI Crosshair. It's got the Intel Core 9, and it's got a NVIDIA. I think it's the 5070, which is a pretty beast of a video card, especially on a laptop. It's got 64 gigs of RAM. You know, I mean, it's just, and the screen is 18 inches. The freaking laptop weighs a ton. It's not the greatest laptop for like everyday, maybe like just business use because it's so damn heavy. But it's a beast. It is an absolute workhorse. So yeah, it's the MSI Crosshair 18. And I'm really happy with MSI. It's the desktop that I bought at Costco a few years back that I use upstairs, which that one runs everything really good. Um, that's an MSI as well. So I've been pretty happy with them. It is strange. I got to and you guys see how timid I am of making any changes, just because the stream's every day. So, you know, to tinker with something during the week, you know, I take on a risk where what if the PC crashes and I can't get it back up and running, and then the next day everybody comes to join the stream at 8:30 in the morning, and they're like, "Where the hell's Rob at?" Um, so I'm very timid on making like any changes or any big updates during the week. But now that I know that this laptop can handle it, I have no issue in if there's a problem. Now I could just switch over to this, and I know I can run the stream perfectly fine. Yeah, it's weird. All right, so that's a few people, including Mike, that just said that does sound better. All right, good, good feedback. I like that. And I think Mike's on here, or Michael's on here. Oh yeah, you did say it. I was gonna give you a shout out here, Michael. I don't know if you don't mind me posting the payout notice. Well, it's your account's blocked off, so I think we're good. But he had a really nice. So after a year of being my own worst enemy, I finally got my first payout thanks to Rob. Thanks. So, and I believe that's Tradeify, right? So $1,100 payout. Nice job, man. Nice job. And like I said in the post, hopefully many more to come. No, this is nasty. Nasty price action so far this morning. So you see, it just tapped into that 46. We got the reaction that you were looking at. I mean, that was probably 10-point reaction right off that point that I had mapped out. So now Nordic, we'll take a look and see what happens when it hits that 518. But this was where I could thought that there would be a reaction. Fits really nicely on the volume profile. Um, I wouldn't expect a huge move. Well, maybe today you could get, since it's so rangy, we might make a range move back up. But that was where I thought we would have the reaction. So that played out nicely. Now we'll see kind of your 518. We'll see what happens there. I'm not looking for 518. That's a setup that one of the members, or I should say, one of the people on stream asked me to kind of look at them. I liked the 546 number, and you could see that that was probably good for about 20 points right there on that line. So you could say, Rob, why don't we take this as a setup? Yes, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but that's where the reaction happens. It's repeatable, guys. It just happens all the time, every single day, without fail. Don't feel any pressure, Nordic. It's all learning. It's all a learning experience, anyways. Well, it's good for about 40 points. Well, damn. If I could just get that beeping out of away from the construction being done outside, that would be great. It pierces my brain. Man, not much movement. I'll be right back. All right. What time frame is that chart? Oh, I'm on the 5 minute right now. Your 46 was a magic point. Yeah, I mean it's just it's knowing where the reaction points are going to come at. Um, but a true magic point would have been if I would have mapped out a setup from there and actually profited from that 40-point move. So take everything with a grain of salt. Da-da-da-da. So kind of on like days where I know that the setups are going to be difficult, it's very tempting to go down to the lower time frame to find setups, which on a lower volatility day, sometimes rarely will I do it, but it's, there is always that option. It's just that the setups are so much more stronger on the higher time frame, like the 15 minute, the 15, or I don't want to say the 60, but the 15-minute is generally where I like to see my setups formulate from. But sometimes you could jump down to the 5 or 1, and yeah, there'll be some setups that pop up. But the probability, that win rate from 80% or 70, whatever, 75 to 80%, then starts to drop. And I'm all about preserving capital and capital growth. So I'd rather look for higher probability setups. And on days like today, sometimes they don't normally appear very often. All right, let's take a look here. The 25 612. So they're interested in that as an auction. So that would be right here. And I like mapping these out. These are extremely important to know because this is giving me a much more broader picture on what the market I think is wanting to do, at least in the interim. Like big targets right now is the 25 700s. To the downside, why is my chart like that? I don't know. So to the downside, of course, the 25 500s, which is right here, is another area that so they'll typically have two areas, top and bottom, on where their auction process could play out. And it's important to know these because this will kind of also give you a general feel of after a push from a balanced or an unbalanced area where they can close out those auctions at. So that's what that helps me out with a lot. We've got about 15 minutes for IB to be set. And that's another thing I like about the IB is on slow days, that's at least a trade setup that pretty much comes up every day. We haven't really traded a lot of them on stream. A lot of them had been winners if, with a resting limit order. But the IBs haven't been super, super clean yet. Typically, I've been trading these for a while and I see the pattern. But typically on the IB, what I like to see is a touch or a possible kind of getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Tapping into that big pocket of unbalanced volume at that line for IB and dipping down about a point or two into it. And then within that same footprint candle, then getting the green footprint with negative delta. That is like the best, cleanest power play that you can get. Like I have super conviction on those type of plays. What we've been seeing a lot of is coming up maybe 3 points to the IB, coming back down, then coming right back up, sweeping an area of unbalanced volume sitting above the IB high or low, and then making its move. So it hasn't been super clean, I would say, in the last like probably 2 weeks. And the market will do that. I mean, the market will, as long as you start to identify, okay, the market's kind of shifted as far as like what it's trying to do at certain points. You know, you can't be stuck in one train of or in one setup, because you'll get killed. And you know, that's where my footprint confirmation, I believe, becomes very, very useful. All right, so I think you could delete that 46 here. Billy Joe says, just want to confirm your footprint settings. Is it 2 on the 5 and 4 on the 15? No. So my footprint settings are not, um, they're not based on time intervals. Very extremely important thing to understand there. All right, I like this little movement here. If we can break the, if we can get down to the 20, what do I need to see here? The 508s. So in this area, if we could break through here, then I will start looking right up here, unless we rebalance it right now. But I like to see maybe a setup right there. Hopefully it aligns with this 612. That would be a great setup. But I need to see a break in structure down here first. And we got about 10 minutes down to IB. So Billy Joe, to get back to your question, no, my footprints are not based on time intervals, because the effectiveness of the footprint on the time intervals is completely different. And I'll give you like a great example. So I'm like, my ES is on a 4 range, so it's pretty much 1 point. Each footprint candle is 1 point on the ES, and that there's no equation that I can give you to a time interval chart, because price action, specifically when it starts getting to areas of high interest for me, where things are unbalanced, and price action is going to move, because that's where the market is wanting to make its moves. That's why we usually get a really great reaction out of them. I might get 6 footprint candles at that reaction point. Okay, on my 4 range. On a 1 minute candle, you might get one, and you've already missed the move. On super slow days, yeah, they might start to get a little bit closer, but time interval has nothing to do with how I trade with my footprint confirmation, how I'm looking for that delta shift that I'm looking for in my confirmations. So to reiterate, on my ES, I am running it on a 4 range, and on my NQ, I run it on a 20 range. And again, I think that's the reason why I added that membership level to this YouTube channel. I think that what the few hours of a kind of a private live stream with just the members on just asking me questions left and right, go I can actually show you guys the footprint charts. I can show you guys the settings. I can show you guys what I have on my volume profile, and just answer the general questions that come up here every day that I necessarily can't do on stream because I'm not going to be going in through my settings and stuff like that right now. It's too time consuming, and it's a lot of busyness at a time where I like to concentrate. Um, so yeah, I didn't really wish we didn't get that sweep there. I was hoping for like an impulsive move down to the 508s. Even the 500s kind of can do their auction here. Would be great. You got it, Billy Joe. Brian, no. No, if you're already subscribed to the Signal service through YouTube, it's got to be through YouTube on the Signal service. I don't have any other way of. I can port people from YouTube to Discord. I have no way of porting from Discord to YouTube. Put in somebody in a YouTube group from Discord. But if you join the Signal service through YouTube, um, then you'll automatically already be in the live stream, and you should have all the badges and the other perks that come with it. But if you're a Signal member just from Discord, there is no way of getting you into that YouTube stream. And I don't want to reveal too much, but starting like probably early January, I really want to what's the word? Consolidate platforms, just so the YouTube membership is great because it makes it very easy, but it's very difficult with my Discord because I got to manually enter you guys into Discord, and it's honestly a kind of a pain in the ass because it's not a great user experience for the actual member, the one who signs up through YouTube, because when I pay for something, I want instant access. I want to be in. And when you do it through YouTube, I'm talking specifically the Signal service membership. I got to manually enter you in. Now on the VIP stream that I set up yesterday, that's it. I mean, you're in. I mean, that's a super easy, and it's a great way to, I guess, support the channel if you're getting any value. So I'm really hoping they don't close this out here at the 612s. I'd like to see them go into the fives, into this little middle area. They could even poke into this area right down here. That's what I would prefer right now. But we also have 4 minutes for IB to be set, so we'll see what they want to do here. Oh. Another thing that's bothering me is this chair is much more comfortable than the one I got at the house. It's like, what the heck, man? Everything I thought I was going to be doing half-ass here is actually turning out to be much better than what I put in a lot of time and effort to at home. Oh, shit. Crap. I made a mistake there. All right, let's see what we got going here. All right, let's see a push here. What do we got? 2 minutes to IB being set. We don't got much happening on the ES. I'm just going to switch over to the NQ chart. Some pretty good delta right here. We just missed it, but 120. That was pretty decent. I'd like to see at this point, I don't really like that we're right at the IB low. It's typically not the play that I'm looking for. I would much rather coming in from the top point, coming back down into it. Because we're just kind of bouncing here off of it. So it's kind of balancing that out pretty good. 532. Even though they got a pretty good wall at the 525s, which is right above Nordic's line. Or the Arctic Circle here. I don't know why I'm making a reference to the Arctic, but all right, we got IB set. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what have they left here. All right, strong push. That was pretty good negative. That was pretty good right there. Let's see what happens. Where's the protection at? Protection is sitting at the 25s. So I got to... All right, that's a decent stop right there. And then what do I got to balance? That's an easy one. So I got to balance out the 44s. It's a pretty easy target right there. Let's see what happens. So again, we didn't get the reaction there that I was looking for. We kind of had a lot of balanced area right there. So this might be getting a little nasty. They're probably coming after the... that was a strong move through it. Dang it. All right, got tagged out there. I think it was only about 6-7 points of profit, but they had the 44s that really needed to get balanced out. Oh, they might have already tagged into that when I saw it. No, they did not. Or the 54s, actually. I'm sorry. So now what do they do? Now what do they do? So now they're going into an area of a lot of support for the ES and the NQ right here. This is a big reaction zone for them. That was kind of nasty. Well, they're dipping in right now. You could see a pretty good reaction here now. They might close out again that 35. They can close out the 35s or the 44s here. Seeing some good footprint confirmations here. I like this trade. I like this long here, to be honest with you. Hopefully I don't regret it, but I'm going to put my stop right here. And I think I can target the 44s. 43. So I saw a lot of support there from buyers. Let's see if it plays out or not. They could want to tap into the 500s right here. It's not looking good. This is not looking very promising. So the ES is in the support area. Shit. This is not good. Tap into the 500s and go. Tap into the 500s and go, buddy. Yeah, just not seeing a lot of follow through from buyers. Well, this could be a nasty day. Nasty day right here. This is going to see an explosion right here. And it can either whipsaw or it can get a really nice reaction to the top side. It's good footprint confirmation there. Let's go. You know, you got to balance something out up here. You got a big target up here. They want to finish maybe. So they keep redefending the 500s. So that's kind of a good sign. Feel good about that. Let's see some strength coming in. I mean, we can make this target actually even a little higher. I don't want to get super greedy, but they are defending it. But I'm not going to get greedy because they could retest this 500 and knock me the heck out. Let's go. I'd like to see a nice impulsive move to balance out everything up here. Even though the 34s look very inviting. 34s look very inviting right now. It's an easy target would be the 34s. And I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be greedy. But oh, that's not looking good. That means that they want to retest the 500s. That would have been their opportunity, I think, just to take that straight shot to the upside. But come on, make a move. Make a move. Either test this again, knock me out, or let's go to the top side. Either way, it's okay. Let's go. They're just not, the buyers are not following through. I mean, they're still staying strong right here at that 500, but I would like to see them actually step in and move up and maybe close out some of this auction at the 550s right around here. At least that's what I see. We're gonna see some. We're gonna see some resistance at the 35s, which I'm okay with, right around this IB low area. We're gonna definitely try to tap into that. I don't know. Maybe they want to close this out here. They want to close out the 500s. That could be a very strong possibility here. Who would have thought the Nordic line would have been the area? All right, I'm gonna get some coffee. I'm gonna let this trade play out on its own. Sweet. Oh, that's always the best power play is just to go refill the coffee mug. And they still got a target. Oh no, they actually. Damn, I should have left it up at the. Well, no, I think my target was pretty good. What did I see there? I thought there was a higher target that they could have. Oh yeah, the 57s. So the 57s, where's that come into? Oh, I'm glad that I didn't. 57 would have been the aggressive target, but well, Nordic, your line made me sweat, man. That Nordic line that we had here made me sweat. It's a good reaction point. I mean, I don't know what 20 points though of drawdown. That's a little too much for me, but that worked out. Guys, I'm sorry. I'll be right back. I'm getting a call. All right, so to kind of explain that one, we did get a good footprint confirmation on that eye below. Now, the one thing I was honestly worried about was the tapping into the 25 500s, which you guys saw. I had to move my stop below that. Excuse me. And you can see right to the tick, that was the reaction point. That was the support that I was looking for. And then they had left so much unbalance. I mean, they still got a lot of unbalanced volume. I wouldn't be surprised if the 612s now come into play. Um, but one other thing, too, here on a retest is they're still defending this area very strongly. So they tapped into it twice, and the contracts just kept filling up. So that, to me, means an area that they're still very interested in doing business in. But the ultimate prize, well, the ultimate prize, in my opinion, would be the 25,700. But with today's volatility, I don't necessarily think that that might come into play anytime soon. But short term, the 612 would be a great place for them to clean out a lot of their auctions. So all of that they're doing right now, this is all extremely repeatable. And now we can take a look and see this area. Is anything clean up here? Let's see. Do not apply. No. There's nothing clean here anymore. They rebalanced a lot of this. ES. Nothing. So I got nothing on the ES, nothing on the NQ. Let's see what the cash counts look like. Nice. Up 310 on the day on the cash. And then all of the funded accounts are up between 145 and 150. Not bad, especially from where I was on that IB trade. All right, now let's see. Big absorption right here. Now let's see if they still defend this area or not. Let's see. They're going through contracts like crazy. I think they got to dip in a little bit more, though. They still haven't dipped in all the way down. So they made a little dent. Nothing big. Here's a big absorption now. Let's see what Delta does here. Let me bring this one here. Let's see what Delta does. It's a big... Yeah, they just keep... So they're not coming in. They're not refilling their positions here. They're going to make another dip into this 25,500s. I don't think that was enough. Oh, yeah, now they're stepping in again. You can see, I mean, level 2 will give you so much information. You could see now they just re-hammered the 500s. So they can come right back into it and still do business. What you want to see is those contracts drop back down to like 10. Then that'll tell you they're finished with that area. All right, big absorption. Got to dip down a little lower. You know you want to. And then as far as targets right here, what do they need to do? What do they need to do? Oh, they could rebalance the 15s. That's the easiest place for them to rebalance right now is the 15s, which they just did. Now they'll come back down to it. Come right back down to it and play some more in that sandbox. They're just refilling here. I'm telling you, the 612s will be in play. All right, now let's see what happens here. They got to dip down here. They got to dip into the 500s. Okay, there you go. So now they just, you see the delta? 213 right here. Now they are done with this area. Now we'll see if who steps in, if the buyers or the sellers step in. And then we can determine where they want to go. Still fighting it out. Just an auction in process right now. To me, buyers right now look a little bit more favorable. And now they can dump at the 515s is an area, the 19s, but their big prize I think is going to be up here. Because now they got to do something with that business that they just conducted. They got to do something. Under the 470s, there's nothing. There's very little volume. All their stuff to play with is up here. is all up here. And that's going to be where they're going to want to balance out that volume at. Damn, it's hot. Was that one of your level? No, it's not a levels trade. That was actually just a play off the IB. Obviously, I lost the first IB trade, but the second one was just seeing where I had already mapped out that 25 500s, so I knew that there was an area that they were going to have to play with, and I got a great footprint confirmation there. So I knew this area right here was left completely unbalanced, just like this is right here, and just like this is right here. So to me, that just seems like a very natural area for the shit ton amount of business that they've done right here. Now they got to displace that somewhere. The logical place is up the 612s, but they have a lot of areas that they can be dumping in the meantime. For instance, the 510s. So the 510s is right here. That's going to be their first area. That's easy money right there. And then the 526s. So right here. That's going to be the next area right there. So I can get rid of this. Take that off. And then I'll put circles here. So they're going to go through these areas to close out some of the auctions that they just conducted. Right there. And then the big one is 541. Well, that's right above IB. I don't want to put 1,000 lines up on the chart, but I will, just so we can all see what the hell's going on. This is the other one right here. All these areas are areas that they can rebalance or finish off their auctions, I should say. I don't necessarily know if they already tapped into that one. They did not. So that's still left. These three are still left open. Big prize 612. And I had a shaded area down here on the NQ. What was I thinking here? Let's see. $10.55. It's a big impulsive move out of this shaded area. We should see a reaction there. Why did I not have this mapped out already? 477. Dang it. Oh, I think it was a stop loss area. Yeah, the 564s. I'm going to map this one out just for the hell of it, because it does look pretty clean. The only issue I see is the stop loss that they've done a lot of business already. They've got to be somewhat, they got to rebalance some things up on the top side. But let's color these up. Load, entry, TP, TP. Stop loss. What did I say? Stop loss. Okay. So they're going to take out the the 511s. 510, 511 was my area. I don't know why it's 511, but 510 was really where it was at. That'll be the first stop. Again, super repeatable shit that the market does every day. Okay, so they've balanced that out now. Now their next target would be the 526s. Well, not target, but the next place for them to close out auction. There, you got to remember, they're sitting on a huge pile of business, okay? And like my analogy at the convenience store, they've got to find what price now that they can sell their products at the best price where the most people are going to be interested in. And there's a lot of people here and here that are willing to do business. So on this setup on the ES, my only concern here is the stop sweep, but we've got an entry at the 24,478, targeting 25,484, and the 488 with a stop loss at 25,469. $25,478 is the entry. TP1 is $25,484. TP2 is $25,488 with a stop loss at $25,469. Just do what you got to do, man. Let's just get this over with so we can get some price action back with us. Just take this out already. Let's go. No, NQ. ES is in a no man's land right now for me. I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to try to put the numbers bigger because I don't want anything to happen here. Scott, I don't know if I answered your question, but I was looking at level 2, so bookmap. There you go. Tapped into that. Now their next area is going to be the 541s, 542s. This is just all they're doing right now, guys, is cleaning out everything that they took right here. That's it. It's basic auction theory. You understand this, you'll understand the market so much better. Now after this, they could retest. I don't really see much below them that they would want to retest at, but 37s look stacked. Yeah, 37s are going to be definitely where they eat through. But this could go much higher. So Crypto Nerd, I'm not going to be typing in the numbers. I tried that yesterday, and my thought process was it leaves a lot of risk for errors. And I already did an error yesterday, and I would hate for someone to take an entry off of an error. So I'll just keep repeating the entries for right now until I could figure something a little bit better out. I wish I could just cut and copy all these stuff in there. There you go, guys. Right there, 541s. Now, after this level, now I can start to retest a few things down here. There's nothing super clean. Let's see what they. Yeah, it's just going to be an area where we could see a retest. We could be dancing around here for a little bit, but the ultimate prize for the to the end of the market would be those 612 area. But this right here is just super simple to spot. All right, so the setup. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me go to the main screen. That'll make it maybe a little easier. Sorry about that, guys. I was on the footprint. So entry 25,478, TP1 25,484, TP2 25,488, stop loss 25,469. There you go. There's the retest because it's done most of its business that it needs to do here. Get rid of these. I think I proved my ideas here. Poor yes. I haven't even looked at you today, buddy. You haven't done anything that I can use. And again, on this setup here, on the NQ, my only concern is a stop loss area. Let me just see if I can pull this up here. So the stops are all sitting a lot here, but let's see what this 469s. Yeah. So there's a lot of liquidity, a lot of volume to be balanced out right here. So the only concern here is, yes, we could get the entry, we could get the TP1 and 2, all that's beautiful. But the concern here is making that final sweep and getting tagged out, even though that sweep might come with then the reaction that we're looking for. That's just not, I would consider this maybe a B setup right now. And then we'll see how the 478s kind of stack up. Good job, Randy. So let me ask you, Randy, was that a play? You said the most profitable day. Was that a play on where where I'm telling you guys what the market has to rebalance, or what made it such a profitable day? I'm assuming that because I have a lot of conviction. I'll be right back. Bought in at the 24,992. 24,99. Yeah, that's great. Nice. Nicely done. So I got to cut off in about a couple minutes here. I got to get everything straightened up before here at the condo here before I take off for today. Let's see here. Let's see what the 478s are doing. Oof. It's kind of a. Oh, no. No, no. I'm sorry. I was looking at the entry instead of the stop. Some defense at the 475s, which I like. Okay. Man, this chair is awesome. I love it. Well, that kind of turned out to be an exciting morning. And I absolutely love doing this shit every single. I mean, I could do this every single day, minute of the day, if I could. I just love seeing what the market wants to do. It's enjoyable. Now, what's the saying? Do something you love. You don't work a minute in your life. I probably butchered that saying, but poor yes. This is about a 10-point range, 15-point range since like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to give you much. I'm sure the NQ range is probably not that. Well, let's see. $646. Yeah, what, about 150-point range? It's pretty small. Not huge. So Morganite took it was a play off of the IB. I mean, I took a loss on the IB, but we dipped down into that big pocket of unbalanced volume, got a nice footprint confirmation, and I just saw that there was just so much unbalanced volume sitting above me that I could not take it. And I think I took that trade for a good 20 to 25 points. Maybe more, I'm not sure. I think it was maybe more. Let's see. This would have been the second trade right here. Entry was at the 520s, and I sold, yeah, so 23 points. So the first trade was a 15-point loser, and then I got an 8, made up that, and then another 8 points, or a little bit more than 8 points. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it. Last official day in Florida. Miss my family. Time to get home. Last day for Apex's sale. 70% off. $40 lifetime PA activation fee. Again, I did add the membership level on here, so if you're getting value from it, it's a great way to support the channel. I love you guys. And then with that, I'll be scheduling private members only streams just for Q&A, just to spend a good hour or two with you guys, go over charts, footprints, what I'm seeing as far as the bigger picture sometimes on the volume, on what needs to get rebalanced. So there's some value there. And another green day on the stream. So what was it up? What are we up today? 1170. So great day of trading. 2 solid days here in Florida, which gives me good vibes. But I'll see you guys all back in Chicago. Well, I'll be back in Chicago tomorrow. I'll see you guys all on stream at Market Open. Hopefully, if I make it to Chicago. So with that, I wish you guys the absolute best. Stay patient out there. And remember, on this setup on the NQ, the only concern I have here is a sweep of that stop loss run. A little under the 469, so that's the only concern I got there. But